Hop on today and wish you a wonderful Mindset Monday. I do a Mindset Monday podcast, and so sometimes I meet with y'all before I do the podcast, but this time it is after. So, how do we adjust ourselves for Mondays? As I'm thinking, I was talking this morning about how we can honor ourselves and love ourselves, about how the topic was that we would value ourselves. How do we value ourselves with boundaries and, oh gosh, stuff pops up, with boundaries and, um, you know, balance? How do we balance ourselves with that? So, the bottom line is being able to take ownership, of our feelings, of our thoughts and our perspectives, and to gauge and ask ourselves, to set loving boundaries. What are our motivations and intentions when we say yes to things? This is geared towards people pleaser. I'm Stacy Renee. I'm a transformational mindset coach. I work with people through addiction, codependency, and grief. And there are people who, everybody may experience this. There are people who seemingly look very successful on the outside, but on the inside, they're suffering in silence. And these are the people that I help. And so, with helping these people to be able to honor themselves and honor others, we grow through different levels and layers in this life. There's no plateau to where we can grow. And so when we're gauging ourselves, can I afford to do this? I learned this from my spiritual coach, Michael Merdad. He's on here too on YouTube. Can I afford it? Can I afford it mentally, emotionally, spiritually, physically, financially? And I have to gauge it. And we have reasons and excuses. So I myself had something come up last week that I had to count on my reasons or excuses, because I had some valid excuses to why I couldn't do something last week. There were two of them: financially, and then there was also the time, because I'm working with a business coach myself. And so I had things I needed to be responsible and do. And so I talk about setting boundaries with ourselves, loving boundaries with ourselves and with others. But it really was seemingly a possible life and death situation. So on the other part of it, I had three reasons why I needed to do this. The biggest one is because someone helped me when I was in one of these life and death situations. So being able to do what I can do when I can do it and not do more than enough, right? So that's the balance there, is knowing, that inner knowing, and checking in with ourselves. What's my intention? What's my motivation? Is this reason or excuse? Do I have more reasons than excuses to do or not to do something? So gauging ourselves there. So I just hope that this is going to help somebody as we begin the week this week. I love doing the Mindset Mondays that I get to do, because for me to help somebody else and to tell somebody these things, it keeps me in alignment too, so that I can walk the walk and talk the talk. So why would you want to work with me? Most people like to work with me because they're not feeling like they have to have the right answer. They get to have the real answer. Okay? And so we can't own and gain our authenticity through trying to navigate what somebody else is looking for. You have to look for it within yourself. And so sometimes we just need to dig deeper. It doesn't mean that you're perfectly imperfect. We live in a paradoxical world. And so being able to own things and then let go of what we don't need to own, that's not ours. And sometimes we need somebody to bounce that off of. So I hope that even if it's not me, that you have somebody to bounce that off of, but to value yourself. And sometimes we may value ourselves in work, but not in relationships. Sometimes we may value ourselves in relationships, but not financially. Sometimes we may value ourselves spiritually, but not financially. So I help people to be able to align with that, to be able to organize and compartmentalize, as well as to gain a different perspective and a better divine directive. So I hope that you're able to find that however you seek that. And I wish you a magnificent Monday and a wonderful week. Thank you so much. Bye. All right, let me stop it. How does it stop?